Okay, folks. Well, it's been a good run. It's the end of an era, and we're not talking about us. We're talking about Impact Wrestling on Twitch. So we're going to talk about uh, the Impact Insiders new program that they got going on. Very intrigued here, but nonetheless, rest in peace to their Twitch presence as that is now gone. So that's going to be our topic for today. Without further ado, let's get into today's show, folks.
Big go bell, big go bell, big go bell, big go bell. All I really want, that big go bell, big go bell, big go bell. All I really need, that big go bell, big go bell, big go bell. All I really want, that big go bell, big go bell, big go bell.
All right, folks, it is another week, which means there is another episode of our Impact Wrestling Weekly Hot Topic and Review Show. Nigeria alongside of Miss Miranda Morales. Hello.
Hello.
And as if this again, if this is your first time ever checking us out here, as we like to cover all things Impact, we like to pick that one topic that we feel like we need to discuss, that one hot topic that we want to bring to you all. And because of the unpredictability of when we are going to have that show, if you want to watch us live, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you know exactly when we're going live and you can be a part of the show. But with a lot of things happening on Impact on Access TV as of last night, debuts and some legendary matches getting ready to be or have been officially signed, and you have emergence getting ready to take place. You know, we'll get to that because that's to come. I think it's very important, and I think a lot of us may have been wondering. Well, I know I was wondering about 2 weeks ago. With the Insiders thing getting announced with Sami Callihan promo video, I was thinking to myself, well, why would I want to? And what's really the perks here when I could still watch Twitch?
Yeah.
And I never thought that. I mean, it's simple, but I never thought like, oh shoot, you know, maybe they're going to get rid of Twitch, you know, and thus that happened.
That's what happened. You put it out into the universe there.
Yeah, I feel like I jinxed myself. Oh, this is a shame. All right, here we go. Cool. I thought I clicked away from it. So I want to read this tweet that they put out yesterday. I mean, not yesterday, as of August 4th. And it comes from the Impact Wrestling's official Twitter page where it says, we've been getting a number of questions about co-streaming, which is another added benefit into the whole Twitch presence, which is really cool, by the way. But unfortunately, with the discontinuation of our Twitch presence, we no longer will be allowing co-streams of Impact. We'd like to thank everybody who supported us on Twitch over the last 3 years. Wow, I can't even believe it's been 3 years, but here we are. With that being said, Impact Wrestling has launched the first of its kind fan membership on YouTube. Members of Impact Wrestling Insiders get access to a raft of premium content, brand new shows, exclusive perks not available anywhere else. With the launch of Impact Wrestling Insiders on YouTube, Impact Wrestling will discontinue its Twitch. That's the same thing. Level 1. So they have the details there. The biggest thing here is that with Level 1, the Impact Insider, the price is only 99 cents per month. It gives fans access to fan loyalty badges that identify them as members, exclusive community posts each and every Thursday, and our flagship television show, Impact. So that's where you can get your weekly. And there's a lot of mixed reactions to this. I kind of looked through the comments, and the big thing here is that my first question, which I'm gonna throw it to you to kind of get your reaction to all of this. Well, you would assume if it's on YouTube, is it live? You know, and then the response is it will begin approximately 30 minutes after it begins on Access, but will run without commercials, so the show will end at the same time that it ends on Access. That is a tricky.
Yeah,
That's some mad scientist stuff there, because
yeah.
When we used to get the early screeners of Impact, then we got it without commercials, but we know on Twitch has commercials and on Access TV has commercials. So how do
it's airing at the same time. It's in sync.
That's the
Maybe
tricky thing.
I was gonna say, maybe they do air that. It's going to be a different version as far as editing out the commercials, so it may look more like the screeners that we are used to. It sounds like a lot of intricacies with that, and I think it's great to have a level of detail and products and ways to let your fan base know how much you care about them. But I think it's also a lot of upkeep, and also, like you said, a lot of intricacies, a lot of little things that always have to keep on going right. And when one thing maybe doesn't go right, or one thing is off kilter, that can throw a lot of other things in a loop. So that's the one thing that I'll be very interested in seeing and noting. But I mean, again, too, I could see why they do that, as far as needing to push, the actual show on Access TV, when you can actually get this for at least the minimum for 99 cents a month. I mean, that's going to be way cheaper than what a lot of people are paying on their cable bill for Access. So I think it's hard. I can see where there's a balance to incentivize this new program, while also pushing people to watch on television, because ratings and their presence on Access TV is an important thing.
Yeah. Let me go over a few other things too. So that the next interesting thing I saw is somebody commented about BTI. Well, BTI will, as they responded, BTI will continue to premiere on YouTube and Facebook as always. Now, here was another one. Now, hopefully I can find this question. But if you have cable, you have Access TV, and you get the membership, the insider membership, which costs, at a minimum 99 cents, and then you have Impact Plus app here. Now you start to wonder, well, what is legitimately, what is it that you need? What is it that's going to get you what you need? And what it comes off to me is that Impact Plus gets you the library.
Yes.
And it gets you the
exclusive. Yep.
The 99 cent gets you the weekly show and other digital content. And then that still leaves you to have to purchase the pay-per-views. So you're spending revenue in different directions. And there's really, to be honest, I don't think there is like anybody who has a setup as such. I think the craziest thing to this is, the UFC with, you got to have
you have like
Plus.
ESPN Plus, UFC Fight Pass. And that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of, now you're expanding on those intricacies where you have to have a lot of things in sync and work together. And you're absolutely right. There can be confusion as to what's on Impact Plus versus this new package. And then, on top of that, if you want major pay-per-views, like, I don't know, Bound for Glory coming up, you're going to need to purchase that separately. And that could be, I know it airs on Fight, it airs on pay-per-view. So, there's a lot of coordination that has to happen. It is somewhat nice, I have to know, and maybe this is the train of thought that they're going with, but it does allow you to pick and choose a little bit more what you need, because when you get a whole exclusive bundle, you don't always use a lot of the services or products in a bundle, and you pay a good amount for it. Now this allows you to, if you just want to see Impact on Access TV and some of that exclusive content, or if you really are just big on the exclusives and that library, or if you just really want pay-per-views and you don't care about anything else, it allows you to pick and choose and do that on a more flexible basis. At least that's what it feels like to me.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. For $5 a month, which is the level 2, you get all Impact Insiders perks, plus Hard to Kill, Rebellion, Slammiversary, Bound for Glory, their big 4.
Wow.
And then you get
some network level. I mean, 4 big pay-per-views just for that.
But the thing is, you get the big 4 available just 30 days after the pay-per-view events.
Yeah.
So it's the idea of being able to have the content, but not actually having the content ever in live stride. And I think that's really that's what fans want. It's also why we encourage people to check us out live, because people want to be part of the show and they want to be able to interact. And I think here it's like, cool, you get to see it, but you done missed all of and like
30 days. Like at that point, it's
that's
on to
another
the next,
special.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
like
on to the next.
Yeah,
But
exactly. It is literally, it goes back to the old school days of buying pay-per-view. I mean, buying DVDs after the pay-per-views came out, or the old days of something even more relevant of when you see a movie and you're like, I can't wait to own the DVD, but then the digital rental comes out like 2 weeks or 3 weeks afterwards. Why would you want to buy the DVD besides for the idea of collection purposes? So, it's really it's interesting. Let me read what else you get with it too. So you get the monthly specials with this as well. You get the Impact Wrestling Archive, brand new Impact original shows, discounted Impact merch, exclusive GIFs. So you get level 2. Level 2 happens to be around, if it's not, it's the same price as Impact Plus. This is tricky here.
Yeah.
This is tricky. So I don't know. I think this is definitely one of the ones that, instead of trying to mastermind this real quick, throwing it to the audience who listens, what's the perfect path here to obtain the Impact content? Because even me now, I'm in a flux where I'm like, I don't know where to spend my money at, in a very righteous way. I don't want to just throw it every direction. I do have Impact Plus right now. Everybody has Twitch. And I have cable, so it's like, I can watch, but I enjoy Impact on Twitch because I enjoy seeing the fans' reactions to things. I like that.
That was something that Impact, for as much kind of slack they got for being on Twitch, because of the fact that at the time it wasn't popular, Twitch's popularity has grown so much in the past few years.
Man.
And it is kind of a shame that they're leaving now when it's at a fairly good, rise. It still too was a very unique way to watch live wrestling, on top of things that they had in the catalog, and just the things that you would see even in between the matches. You would get Impact content during commercial breaks, those little clips and those little moments of history. So it was a very unique thing, and if anything, Twitch's popularity and viewership was growing, and there could have been a lot more potential if they kind of would have invested a bigger presence on Twitch. But I think at the end of the day, having more control of that content and packaging is important for a company like Impact that has one of probably the most sought after libraries outside of the WWE, in wrestling, because of their history, because of the people who've been able to come through the company, because of their international partnerships. So I think leveraging that is such a good thing. But how, now it's just getting a little confusing for fans as to, where to access it and what to put your money in. I mean, ultimately, all this money is going to go to Impact, whether you're an insider or you go through Impact Plus. But, it can be confusing for fans if they feel like, oh, I have Impact Plus, I should get this other content, or I feel like that has a lot of coordination still that can be tricky. And I think with anyone who is having, a streaming service, being clear, concise content, the 3 C's, is really important with any kind of streaming service and brand. And so I'm very interested to see, really, once it goes live and we start kind of having these things interact, what will that look like on a monthly basis?
Yeah. And to add, I mean, the one thing you said is that people want, people like iPhones because of the AI, or the AI, the GUI, the interface.
Yes.
To be really simplistic. May not be the best phone, may not have the best technology, but it's easy for people to use. And then, there are people who like Android because it does have everything that they want, all the bells and whistles, and maybe it isn't so much user-friendly as other ones. But, it's to each his own. But I can assure you that one thing that everybody does appreciate is that it's all there. The first thing that you think about with how this is set up is that well, you have stuff on Impact Plus and you have stuff on YouTube. Well, how come you just don't do it all on Impact Plus? That's your app. That's your premier app. Why can't you just do, and it streams stuff there? So why can't you just do live stuff there? And you could imagine that has to do with a lot of the bandwidth and all sorts of technical issues that they may not want to dive into, and YouTube may just end up being a little bit more simplistic for them.
I could see, especially for the weekly shows, that doing that via app through instead of YouTube, there's a lot more risks and challenges with that. And ultimately, YouTube is very universal. You can watch it from your computer, from your TV, from your phone. So it does, even though, the Impact Plus app is an app, just that ease of YouTube, I think for some fans, it's a lot more user friendly than an app, which, for some people, they don't have or they don't use.
Yeah. So the other thing is too, well, what about our friends overseas? Now, how does this affect them? Because Impact was removed from Fight, then it was removed from Twitch. So what do? Well, because it's on YouTube, now it's available for them as well there too. This does, I guess, puts them to be able to watch it at the same time that we see it in America, and maybe even earlier, if I'm not mistaken. Because I think they were getting it like a day late, but they're still 30 minutes after what is airing on TV. This is also, and I didn't pay attention to this last night, but this also starts to make me wonder, well, are you being spoiled by watching what's happening on their Twitter page if you're not actually watching that in real time? Because their tweets come out in terms of what's happening on the show.
That is true.
So I guess to kind of like really craft this into something is that this is going to be a level of comfortability that the viewers are going to have to try to figure out how to navigate through. I've already seen people lobby and say they should just move this up to real time.
Yeah.
I also think too that they should inject commercials into the stream to make it real time. Give the same presentation that was given to Twitch. I mean, whatever it may be, but let people buy ad spaces if that's the case. Shit, I wouldn't mind throwing my brand up there for a few dollars. You know what I mean? I mean, they do it at independent shows. They want sponsors. Impact could probably do some things, But I think that and I even had these same conversations with like in convention spaces, like Comic-Con at home being at home experience, but they don't let you. They take away all the commenting off of all of the video feeds. The one thing about Comic-Con is about networking and meeting friends from all over the world. It's that human interaction. They do Comic-Con at home, then they don't allow you to actually be social with anybody. That's not good. That's not fair. And I think in this case is that a lot of us as fans, this is why we're on the dumpster fire of Twitter and the IWC, because we like to interact with each other, whether we agree or disagree. But a lot of us like that interaction. And when we want to watch stuff, people want to watch in real time. People want to be able to respond in real time and engage in each other in real time. And for the Impact loyalists, this is going to be difficult because now we're going to be all over the place. Not to mention the worst thing of all of this is that with tapings happening again, you already got the big thing of people spoiling things.
Yeah, the spoilers are already back. And so you make a good point. I didn't even think about this as far as the management of social media. They did mention, I believe you talked about the community posts, which at that point is going to not be live. Maybe it is their way, an attempt to still have a community. But if it's not, live, it just seems like it is a little different. And what is the incentive of a community post compared to social media, where you could just go on their Instagram or Twitter or Facebook and comment the way that you want? Those are going to be a lot of intricacies, a lot of moving parts at the same time. And if one goes off kilter, the whole thing may be thrown off. And that sounds like a challenge. It sounds like, they really need to have a good team on board that's going to be there and make sure that all of this, not only starts seamless, but continues seamlessly. And,
Yeah.
absolutely, you still have the spoilers out there, even within just that 30 minutes ahead presence on the live stream. At what point will it catch up? That will be an interesting portion to it. And even just the timing, I feel like no matter what, it's still going to be off. I don't think they're going to get that much in sync at the exact same time. So it's just all very curious, very interesting way that they're presenting this, some of the decisions that they've made, again, from moving away to Twitch to not having the live stream on YouTube, and also kind of having all of these different products on different platforms.
Yeah, and not to mention too, if you do have Impact Plus, you can then watch the show after it airs. So again, you're still like, I tell you what, I tell you to be very honest, this is actually a benefit from anybody overseas, because it does bring you at least close to real time, where they were a day late. So like, good for them, but for the American audience and fan base, this is still kind of a man. You know what, man? I'm glad we decided to do our reviews in this fashion, because God knows how will we have to do it.
That was literally the first thing. I said, "Oh my gosh!" Because that's another thing. I actually recently pulled the plug, and I do not have cable anymore. I have been using Twitch for some time to watch, and now I have to kind of weigh my options.
Go back to the drawing board. Here we go.
Yes, yeah. I mean, for me, the 99 cent, level one seems fairly reasonable. 99 cents. I'll be able to get, especially some of that exclusive content as well, which kind of has piqued my interest. And that's something, as Impact moving forward, how they can be competitive with AEW and WWE. You kind of continue to showcase what makes you unique and what makes you different. And hopefully some of that content is as part of that methodology. But again, syncing up and just, I'm curious, like, can you see it right after? So say right after it airs, will it stay on YouTube so you can go back and watch it? Or will it take a few days for it to go up afterwards? Those are things that for me, as exploring this, I'd like the ability to be able to go back after it airs right away, to go back and skim through what did I need to see a second time? What did I miss? And that's one thing with Twitch that had been a challenge to do. So that could be a good way to capitalize on YouTube. And again, having that whole catalog there may be awesome. Or, is it going to disappear afterwards? I don't know, but that is likely the route I'll have to go in the future to, explore this, or something that I'll have to wait, compared to, like what you said, Impact Plus, where you pay a little bit more, but you do get the shows right after, and you do get the Impact Plus content, the monthly pay-per-views, which is still a really good deal, when now they are continuously running those every month. So it really depends on kind of, I think, your viewership as well, whether you are more dedicated to Impact on Access, or if you are a little bit more sporadic, or you're trying to do both. It still isn't a bad deal. So Impact Plus, what did you say, $5.99?
$4.99. Level 2. Oh yeah. Impact Plus $4.99. Level 2 of Insiders is $4.99 too as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I mean, it's still, even at the minimum, if you go level 1 plus Impact Plus, it's still what, $6, less than $6 a month.
Yeah,
which
but
is not bad.
Yeah, but you're still not watching it in real time, and that's just the thing. People want their content immediately. They want it easily, and they want to know first. That's just it. People want the rumors. They want the spoilers, and they love the dirt sheets, because they want to be able to access this information before anybody else. This is why it is like the wild, wild west here in wrestling. It's just because of just how people consume their content. So while this is a good marketing plan business wise, this satisfies the network, obviously, by saying, well, how do you still draw people to want to buy or watch us rating wise on TV? Well, they're going to have to watch it there first in order to do so. But at the same time, how can we still make this a little bit lucrative? Yeah, sure, you can get donations and whatnot on Twitch, but this means that everybody who's watching is given at least something.
Yeah.
which is also important. So, I get it business wise. This is why they stay resilient in the way they do. The move away from Twitch is a huge move, and and the partnership that they have, whether it was lucrative or however you want to look at it, they did it. It's just a matter of now the consumers. How do we feel? And I'm pretty sure that we're gonna get a nice run of this. We're gonna get about 2 months, 3 months of this, and then they're gonna kind of decide, well, how do we assess this?
I was going to say they're going to have to tweak it. I think that's another thing, as I talked about, clear and concise. The different pathways, I think, is going to be somewhat confusing. And whether that is some heavy lean marketing and, outreach to fans on, again, all of the different platforms. How do you watch? What are the benefits? I know it won't be a this or that, get your level 2 of Impact Insider or the Impact Plus app. They're really going to have to consider, how do they bundle that? And maybe that is a small price reduction, that if you get Insiders and Plus, that is how you truly do incentivize. And even if the discount isn't much, even if it's $1 off every month, that still is some kind of incentive. And I know those are 2 different platforms as well. I think if there was one way to have a central membership that allowed you to have access to both, and maybe that's in the long-term plans, but again, that's a lot of back-end work because you're dealing with 2 different platforms that do not communicate. And so you'd have to kind of have that manual work in the background to do that. And we all know with manual work, human error can occur, and it's just a lot more challenges. They got to have someone on payroll helping managing all of this, if not multiple people.
You bring up my last point I want to bring up about this. I hope they're paying that social media team top dollar, because man, they just inherited a shit ton of more work. And the moment that it don't go right, it's as simple as somebody calling their cable company saying, this ain't showing. This is not right. And those are never happy people. So
someone, YouTube isn't going right, and so they divert their attention completely, and maybe they just stop, and eventually say, you know what, this isn't for me. It's not what I expected. So I think you bring up such a good point about evaluating how the first months go, listening to feedback, and seeing how they need to modify this in order to address some of the feedback that they're going to get, and really try to make this as least complicated as possible. But also that content has to be on point. People will pay for good content. So as long as they really continue to, of course, have amazing shows, the weekly Impact Wrestling on Access TV, yes, but I think some of that key could be in this exclusive content that they put out. Like, that could be the key where people will flock, and they don't care how it sets up. They just want to get access to it.
Yeah, I mean, look, you get people in the door, but you got to get them to stay, and that's going to be their challenge. So, we'll see. This is definitely why I wanted to bring this up. Last thing before we roll, we had some debuts last night, some new people showing up, a big match signed. So just want to quickly just get your reaction to, first of all, just the tremendous booking of Deonna Purrazzo, but now we see that she's going to be facing Melina, legendary wrestler Melina, in Power. What was your thoughts about that?
Again, I think we talked about this at Slammiversary, as far as, her facing someone that it's not going to be a detriment if they lose. We talked about Mickie James being that, Ortiz Dawson Kong. I think Melina fits that bill quite well, that Melina is likely going to lose because the rocket is strapped on Deonna like nobody else. But she is, a legend. She's worked for companies all over the world. She has a very strong presence right now in the NWA, and I think it's going to be another feather in her cap to defeat a woman who really helped establish and mold women's wrestling to what we know it is today. So it falls in line with exactly, I think, the booking that they're going with Deonna, and a way to make a really bold presence at NWA Empower. And again, that forbidden door, in air quotes, a very cool way to see someone from NWA come in, even if it is briefly, to set up that other storyline.
Yeah. Also, too, considering content, consider Melina and her presence with SWE, Big Cass, W Morrissey in there. I mean, it just makes sense. This is their typical style of a recipe of being affiliated close to an independent show that they run matches kind of through there like they were doing before. I can't think of the other promotion that they were doing it like the one that Rich Swann got hurt at. I can't think of it right now, but this is their MO. So it just makes sense that Melina's here. And like if we said, all of the boxes to check before, she fits. And does this open the door for other people to come to Impact as well with the relationship with Melina here? Yes, this is good business here. So I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see Savannah Evans. Not excited to see Fire and Flavor.
Talk about RIP. I thought like that's been a partnership that's been over a year lasting. That really helped define this new Knockouts Tag Team Champions division. And so it is kind of a sad day because they were such a fun team. But you know,
it is.
It's the end of the road.
Yeah. And Kiera, as is being rumors, is getting ready to kind of see her worth. So, congratulations to her, and then we'll see what happens. She's still very, very young. So, I'm definitely intrigued to see what's next for her. But yeah, folks, jump in the comments. We want to hear your thoughts about how you're spending your money here. Because I again, for somebody who has cable, somebody who has Impact Plus, do I get the insider so I can communicate with you all live and be part of that experience? But is it worth it? Because I've already seen 30 minutes ahead of what you're seeing. I guess for me, do I wait until they tweak it some? Because right now it's just
true. You may want to.
It looks good, but it's just not right what I need. It's like it's those shoes you want, but they don't have your size.
Or it's that new restaurant that you want to go to, but it's a new kitchen. There's a lot of new staff, some new food. Maybe you want to wait until some of those recipes have been perfected or some of that service.
Good point. Well, folks, let us know in the comment. And as I said in the beginning of the show, tune in to us live each and every Friday at some point of the day. But you'll know when, because if you subscribe, then you'll see like hey, Big Old Bell Media is going to go live soon. That would definitely be us talking about Impact Wrestling, our hot topic of Impact Wrestling of the week, and our review of Impact Wrestling on Access TV, YouTube, Insider, and wherever else you're watching it at this point now.
All over at this point, just maybe easier to list the things that we're not on, so I don't.
Were you not watching Impact on Twitch anymore because it doesn't exist? Well, folks, that'll do it for us for tonight. Today, this morning. I'm tired, but it's like whatever. But yeah, we'll see you all next week. Thank you for tuning in, folks. Peace.
Bye-bye.